in regards to the Israel-Palestine conflict, I'm not going to act like I'm some sort of expert in economics or politics or anything like that, but I just want to give some perspective for us, especially in America right now. When 9/11 happened, 3,000 people or so, their lives were taken by the terrorist attack. In Israel, we've seen now at least 700 lives have been taken there, but I want you to consider the ratios for perspective here. There are 7.1 million Jews that live in Israel. 300 or 700 of those people being killed would be the equivalent to 9/11 happening in the United States 33 times. So imagine 33 World Trade Centers, metaphorically, in the United States being taken down on that day, 9/11. 33 cities across America got attacked. That is the same ratio and equivalent to the attack that happened in the first day or hours that happened in Israel. I've seen a lot of different conflicts and arguments online in regards to Palestinians and potentially the severity of what they've done versus their innocence. And here's what the resounding theme has seemed to be with this process. The people who have been born and raised in the Gaza Strip, many of those people impoverished, etc., have no real dog in the fight. At least a group of them have no dog in the fight. And I believe that that is the case. I believe that in every country, in every area, there's people who are completely agnostic to anything that's happening. But the people who have done this in Hamas, I've watched video after video on this topic, and it's very evident that if you hear anyone who's actually part of Hamas who have done these attacks and these terrorist attacks, that they're saying one consistent phrase in all of these actions they've done, which is Allah Akbar. This is not a confused or a political rights thing. This isn't an economic equality conversation. This is explicitly and exclusively a religious conversation. This has to do with Islam versus Judaism, or the God of Yahweh. That is what this entire conversation is about. And again, if you do not believe me, listen to what the actual people's mouths are saying. I was just watching a video of a bulldozer tearing down part of the border that Israel had put up. And that's what they're all saying over and over again. Allah Akbar. This has to do with Islam. This has to do with Islam versus Yahweh, the God of the Bible, the God of Jews, the God of Christians, and the attacks that are happening in that regards. And for some reason, I'm not sure how that part hasn't been talked about in the news up until this point. Again, I'm watching the same videos as everybody else. I'm just not hearing this conversation being had in regards to the religious implications of the war that is happening here in this Gaza Strip area. Now, with that being said, I will say, again, without getting horribly political here, I do appreciate the fact that with the amount of emphasis that America has put on Ukraine, we do seem to be taking so far this seriously with naval and aircraft support for Israel right now, which is something I'm excited to see. One thing that I am very interested in seeing, I'm not here to talk conspiracy theories or anything like that, but it is not questionable now whether BlackRock, Vanguard, some of these very large State Street companies have taken any sort of financial or monetary gain or interest in the Ukraine-Russia war. I'm very curious and intrigued to see what this has to do and what's going to happen with that, with the Israel conflict. My guess is they will again stay agnostic and not have a whole lot of conversation in the matter, in fears of, that may be hurting them from a financial perspective. But it will be very sad to see if these American countries continue to play both sides of the fence, and these are the countries or companies, who run our country, by the way, and see what that relationship looks like. But my big emphasis is us as Christians, we need to pray for the salvations of these people of Hamas, because these suicide bombers, these people who are taking lives of people, they will spend an eternity apart from Jesus Christ, and they will go to an eternity in hell, not with 72 virgins. They are widely deceived by this horrific man named Muhammad, who has deceived hundreds of millions of people. And we do not want to see that for these people, even these horrible warlord type people. We see what Romans 10 says with Paul, where he says, my desire for them is for their salvation. And the same goes with the Jewish people. We want to see Israel come to Jesus. We want to see Hamas come to Jesus. We want to see everybody in the Gaza Strip come to Jesus. And we want to see peace brought to the area, obviously, but most importantly, even greater than just peace, we want to see Jesus come into that area and wreck these people, because it doesn't matter who you are. If you die apart from Christ, if you die not trusting in faith what Jesus has done for all of us on the cross, living the life that we couldn't live morally, dying the death that we deserve to die, rising again, defeating death, hell, and the grave. It doesn't matter what happens in any wars. It matters what happens in somebody's eternity at the end of the day. Again, my heart is with Israel, God's chosen place for God's chosen people. But at the end of the day, my heart is most and first and foremost towards Jesus. And I want to see these people's salvations, that we recognize our failure to live up to God's moral standard by his 10 commandments, and that we put our trust on the Savior for his salvation. So pray for these people. I've been praying this entire morning for them, and I hope you will do the same. Love you all. Subscribe if you want more updates.